Well, that's a disempowering story to start with. If they're saying, oh, it's easy for you and it's not for me, they are completely disempowering themselves in that moment. And I think by owning that, that will shift everything. Because it is taking ownership, speaking it out loud, allowing that energy to shift and be released. Like, it really can be that simple. And owning that they are choosing that.
Today's guest is Claire Doré. Claire likes to be known for expanding people into who they really are so they can be all of who they are in the world and create what they desire. Welcome, Claire.
Hi, Anita. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to talk to you today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm excited for our conversation. So, what is one of the most courageous things that you have done?
I love that question. I'd say the most courageous thing that I've done is actually leave my 21-year marriage, which was in July 21. And yeah, it probably felt like the most courageous move I'd ever done in my whole life, to be fair. And I recognize, and this was only on reflection that I really recognized this, that I was allowing fear to control me for years, and yeah, just like paralyze me into not taking the action that I was feeling. So yeah, it's been a very enlightening and awakening experience for sure.
So, tell me a bit more about that. Like, what was the fear?
Yeah, so the fear I recognize was fear of the future,
Mm-hmm.
fear of doing it alone,
Mm.
fear of the finances, and the biggest fear actually was my children rejecting me. That was my biggest fear, was that if I left, they may reject me. And that absolutely kept me safe and in my marriage for way longer than I'd kind of felt that feeling that I wasn't 100% happy. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember reading the book Untamed by Glennon Doyle. I don't know if you've read it.
No, I haven't.
Okay, well, one of the big light bulb moments that kind of really landed for me in my body was around how she was talking about what you're modeling. And when I really started to see that what I was modeling was not what I wanted for my children, but also recognizing actually the number one person to be happy right now is me, and putting my needs first was always going to serve everyone, right? It's really curious and really interesting to witness when you stand in your truth. It's felt,
Mm.
and literally the unconditional love that I felt from my children instantly when I said I was leaving was just like, yeah, my heart was just cracked right open, because I was ready to receive that. I'd been through the start of an awakening, which is what caused me to step away. And so my heart was like expanded and I was just like full of love. And then, of course, I was open to receive that love back from my children. Yeah, I'll never forget the feeling of when we had that conversation around the table. It was huge for me.
Absolutely, I can imagine.
Mm.
Absolutely. And that's the one thing a lot of people do say. They tend to stay in their marriages for the children, but
Yeah.
actually we're doing a disservice to to our children for doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, we are. But most importantly, we're doing a disservice to ourselves. You know, if we are not loving ourselves and honoring our truth, we are hurting ourselves. We are
Mm.
choosing to hurt ourselves and disempower ourselves. And, that is the greatest modeling that we can show our children, is to put your own needs first. And I remember last year, my son said to me they wanted to live with my ex. He lives in the family home. And they were like, Mum, it's just like so much, like moving every week. And I went, I really hear you, and I'm really grateful you expressed that with me. And he said, the thing is, Mum, if I choose me, I'll upset one of you.
Mhm.
And I said, if there is anything that you do you choose yourself. Like
Yeah.
you always choose yourself. And, I said, if there's anything that I feel, I want to model to you is like choosing yourself. And I showed them that, right? But it was just like such a beautiful moment to receive that from him and him to take that action because that's what he desired. And
Mm.
that's all I want for my children is to do what they desire. And it doesn't matter about how anyone else reacts. It's choosing your own happiness first. And Glennon Doyle does say in her book, disappoint everyone else around you before you disappoint yourself.
Oh, love that.
Oh my
Love
God.
that.
Like that was my favorite quote in the whole book. And it was like, boom, core, blimey, did I feel that? And I read that so many times in the year before I left. It was like, yeah, okay, I need to do this now. I think, like I wasn't fully conscious of that, but I think it was all part of the build up, as it were.
Absolutely, and that's absolutely fantastic. I love that. So is that your big awakening, what took you on a journey of becoming limitless and the creator? Tell me more about that.
Yeah, for sure. And I think what I realize is actually it's an unbecoming. It's an
Mm,
unbecoming
mm,
everything that I thought I needed to be. It's really interesting. When I reflect on my journey, I think about, oh, what changed?
yeah.
Right. And it was like, I chose to behave in a certain way because that's what I thought I needed to be. I chose to shrink myself. I chose to mute myself in so many situations. It's only on jumping out of that relationship that I started to see that I'd done all of this. And there's so much power in owning and taking full responsibility for everything you've created. And that really leads me into this higher consciousness that I am really embodying right now and teaching with all of my clients. And like, no coincidence, they are catapulting and just, yeah, it's like every day, like something huge has shifted for them as they become and expand more into their energetic being.
Mhm.
All the things that are out of alignment, the people, the situations, it's just like being cleared. So it's very much like I see it as like an unlearning and an unbecoming of everything we were or thought we had to be, because someone told us to.
Absolutely. I absolutely love that. And yeah, I want to know more about that. But let's just go back slightly because you were a dating and sex relationship coach. Tell me more
Yes.
about that.
Yes, that's right. And yeah, so I've been coaching in this business for about 8 years now, just over.
Hmm.
I kind of say, like, my entrepreneurial journey has just evolved as I've evolved. I very much lead from a place of authenticity. And so on my journey, like I've been a mindset coach, I've been a confidence coach, and
Mhm.
then I was a dating and relationship coach for about 3 years, actually, and recently let go of that title because what I realized was a title was limiting me. And
Mm.
essentially, I coach, mentor, whatever you want to, however you want to define me, I coach the whole person.
Mhm.
And whatever's showing up in their relationship and dating experiences is always is showing up in the bedroom, is showing up in their business. It's like, who they were being
Yeah.
was present everywhere. And it was
Mhm.
almost like life coach never really felt right for me. I don't know, there was something, it just didn't feel powerful enough. And there's no disrespect to anyone who's a life coach. It's just like how it felt for me. And I think that's it. It's like how it feels in your body is what's most important because then that's in alignment with you. And honestly, letting go of that title, it's like, boom, just like completely expanded my own energy because I wasn't then explaining, oh, but it's all about your relationship with yourself. People didn't get it. People put you in
Yeah.
boxes on, level, whether they're conscious to it or not. It's like they go, oh, well, I'm not single or I'm in a happy relationship, enough. right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, we can always work on ourselves, right? So they'd almost like compartmentalize me. I could see in their kind of minds and go, well, I don't need her. I'm sorted there. And it's like,
Absolutely.
yeah, right. But anyway, I very much create my life, and my clients, they just drop into my experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. That sounds beautiful. And
Thank
who
you.
doesn't want more of that? So do tell me more about embodying who you are and living your fullest expression. What does that entail in your work?
What that entails is doing me. I was doing a TikTok live, which is my favorite thing to do at the moment. Oh my god, it's so much fun.
Mm.
Love TikTok. So engaging. And anyway, I was doing a TikTok live the other day, and there was a guy on there I engaged in. He was like, "What do you do?" And I said, "I do me. I live my life, and I am remunerated for who I am." And that's it. We all are.
Mm.
We all are. We've just been told a story that we're remunerated for what we do. But actually, when we open ourselves up to the fact we actually are remunerated for who we are, our
Mm.
energetic being, because we are energy beings, then we open ourselves up to way more ways to receive. Yeah, the more we are ourselves, the more we are creating from
Mm.
that place of authenticity, from the energy that is really true. And when we are ourselves, like, we get to uncover our truest desires. And I speak from a place of lived experience with this. Like, I
Mhm.
thought I desired the fairy tale. I had the fairy tale. I created the fairy tale. And what I realized was missing was me.
It's interesting that because, yeah, we all have this idea of how we want life to be. And whether we realize it or not, we're creating that reality. It may
Yeah,
not
we are.
be the reality we want, or it's the perceived reality. Absolutely.
It's so true. And I think
Mm.
until we can start taking radical responsibility for everything, and funnily
Mhm.
enough, I was writing a post just before I jumped on about how, radical self responsibility is taking responsibility for everything we created, not just the good things, right?
Mhm.
Because we can really celebrate those. But actually, what about celebrating everything we've created? Because we're constantly, I don't like to use the word manifest anymore, because it often almost like puts things outside of people. I
Mhm.
prefer to use the word creation. A lot of people may understand it as that.
Absolutely. And we do, whether we realize it or not, we are creating all the time, even when we're not creating, we're choosing to not create. And if
Yeah.
people can actually understand that,
Yes.
so we're actually creating all the time.
We are creating all the time. And
Mm,
I think, in my experience of personal development,
mm,
spirituality, whatever you want to call it, it has often been made really complicated, and it's not.
mm,
It's really not. It's just like noticing the disempowering story and choosing to unhook it. Like, that is all. We don't need to go into the story for eons, because then we get stay in it, right?
mm,
And that really, I have learned that takes stepping away from the perspective and lens of healing, and actually shifting into the perspective of expansion, expanding ourselves. And it's a
mm.
very different vibration. And when you are coaching through the lens of expansion, your clients just rock it. I mean, I don't even sell long-term programs. It's like, clients don't need to be with me long term, because
Mm.
the transformation is so fast.
You slightly touched on that, the healing. So tell me more about the healing because at the end of the day, we do all need to heal, but we don't need to stay in the story. Can you just expand on what that is or how we can do that, please?
So, literally letting go of thinking you need to be healed.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we think we need healing,
Mm-hmm.
we think there's something wrong with us. We are constantly looking for the problem. And when we're constantly looking for the problem, we'll have a disempowering story that is probably running underneath. There's something wrong with us, or I am broken, and we stay in it, right? We
Mm-hmm.
stay in it. And I used to definitely use that language all the time. I used to always use that language, and I was coaching through that lens. That was my training. And I do believe we are ready for a higher truth when we are almost like ready to receive and embody it. And it was like, yeah, I was ready to receive this, like the perspective of expansion. And just, I literally overnight pivoted away from healing. And if you just feel the words in your body to start with,
Mm-hmm.
like if you feel the word healing, how does that feel?
Absolutely. It feels like you know there's something wrong. You need to work on
Yeah,
it. You need to do something about it.
yeah, you need to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so I think what I recognize is when you're in that, looking through that lens, you'll be constantly journaling, you'll be constantly doing rituals, right? Because you are constantly looking for the thing. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like literally stepping away from that. Like, and if you feel the word expansion in your body, like that's a totally different vibration. When you are, really embodying that, all the stuff that's out of alignment just literally comes up without you journaling and doing
Mm-hmm.
loads of rituals. It just comes up through having fun. And it's like, if there's an emotional charge about a situation or a person, right, that's something for you. It's that simple. If
Mm-hmm.
there isn't, that's their shit. That's a projection, right? So it's just being highly conscious, and we are always, it's all about awareness. Essentially, it's all about awareness, and yeah, being responsible. Self responsibility is everything.
Yeah, I couldn't agree there more. I absolutely use that phrase. And people just don't take responsibility these days. It's actually unbelievable. Yeah, it's owning who you are.
Yeah,
And,
and I'll put my hand up. I wasn't for years. And
mm-hmm.
that's why I feel I can teach this, because I know exactly what it felt like to not be taking responsibility for most of my life. I literally shafted all responsibility. And it's like, oh my God, the shift when you suddenly take responsibility for having created every situation, life changing and
Yeah.
fast. And it is like, you just don't go back. You just don't go back to that kind of low vibe victim consciousness, which is very much the kind of healing energy. It keeps you in that state of victimhood.
So, what's the best way that you can actually, if anybody's going through anything right now and they're listening to this and they hear, oh, yeah, but that might be easy for you, it's not easy for me, what would you say to them?
Well, that's a disempowering story to start with.
Mm-hmm.
If they're saying, oh, it's easy for you and it's not for me,
Mm-hmm.
they are completely disempowering themselves in that moment. And I think by owning that, that will shift everything, because it is taking ownership, speaking it out loud, allowing that energy to shift and be released. Like, it really can be that simple, and owning that they are choosing that.
Absolutely.
We've covered
Yeah,
some
yeah,
really
yeah,
incredible
yeah.
and very powerful pieces. And I think for
Mm-hmm.
anyone listening to this, listen back and
Mm-hmm.
listen back again and just apply some of the teaching that I've shared, because it can be that simple, and you can change your life really fast when you choose to.
Mm-hmm.
And it is putting your energy behind that and being very intentional, and yeah, letting go of working hard. Like, I recognized for so many years, like I was attached to, the busy badge of honor. My God, I wore that like some kind of like, oh, look at me. I'm
Yeah.
really busy. I'm doing all the things. Oh, yeah, that's a mark of success, right? That's what society tells you. And it's like, the sooner you let go of that and just follow the fun, we are only meant to act on the highest excitement and when we feel truly, truly passionate about something. And because that's our intuition speaking and saying, this is where you need to go, right?
Mm.
And when we let go, someone said to me the other day, so what's the plan? What's your plan at the moment? I went, plan? No, I don't have a plan. My intuition shows me the plan. I don't know what my next step is. This is my first one. And I remember that when I left my marriage, it was like, I didn't know what the next step was. I didn't even know those words were going to fall out of my mouth at that point. And when you can get comfortable in the uncomfortable, that's when life gets exciting. Because fear is actually really exciting if you choose to look at it that way. You're living, you are alive, you are fully alive when you are feeling that. Like, that's fun.
I love it all, Claire.
You're welcome. I've just loved chatting with you.
Yeah. So what resources do you recommend, daily steps, tools, to anyone that wants to start bringing their true desire into reality?
Well, obviously, a session with me would
Yeah.
be probably the best investment they have ever made in their lives. And I do one-off ad hoc sessions because, 90 minutes with me is I can help them to completely reframe and shift their energy. Absolutely. But also just follow me. I share so much value because, I'm committed to this. This is just like part of who I am to share this. And I just, everything I share is coming from a place of embodiment. So if people want to connect, but just ask yourself the question, what is the energy I'm choosing today? And they can just start with that every day and get really intentional. But yeah, if people want to follow me, I'm very, very active on TikTok as the Wild Woman CEO. It's the same on Instagram. And then Facebook is Claire Doré.
Where can the
Oh,
listeners
okay.
find you online? What's your website, Claire? But yeah, just want to repeat that, please, for me.
Yes, sure. Well, I've just dropped my website because I realize it's literally out of date every hour as I expand. Yeah, the best place would be TikTok, the Wild Woman CEO, and Instagram is the same handle. And then I'm also on Facebook as Claire Doré.
I'll put your links in the show notes, and please do connect with Claire because I'm sure you're going to have a lot of fun.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about. Thanks, Anita.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for sharing your courageous journey and your deep, insightful wisdom and your knowledge with us today. And by doing so, I know you have helped so many others. I really want to acknowledge you for that, Claire Doré. We are all about create the courage to be fearless. What is your definition of courage?
Acting when your intuition speaks, not judging it, but stepping forwards in faith because you trust yourself.